Mr. Speaker, on Monday I questioned the Minister of Health whether or not she would finally commit to properly funding EMS and support paramedics. The Minister responded by pointing her finger to anyone she could, claiming that a 4-year-old budget that was never passed in this House was the source of the current struggles for EMS workers. I imagine if that were the case, the Minister would have no trouble addressing that shortfall within the 3, soon-to-be 4 budgets that she's been present for. To the Minister of Health, do you believe that 3 years as Minister of Health has been long enough to address this funding issue for EMS, or will frontline workers continue to have to wait?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm incredibly proud to stand in this House and defend our government's record, which included stopping the drastic cuts that were proposed by that member's party when he was then in government. And, Mr. Speaker, in a few short minutes, we'll be able to discuss the budget in great detail. But I can tell you what we have done is brought forward stability in terms of healthcare funding. What we have done is brought forward stability in terms of leadership for Alberta Health and Alberta Health Services, things that the members opposite failed to do because they don't believe in public health care, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we do. We protect our front lines and we protect the Albertans who rely on those services.
First supplemental.
Well, Mr. Speaker, let's go down memory lane. Last year, that minister cut EMS by $17.5 million. And when you talk to paramedics today, things are getting worse. In fact, they've gone to CBC, and that CBC article revealed that the call volume is up since 2012 by 20%, and the number of paramedics increased only went up by 3.4%. And I'll gladly admit that our previous government didn't get it right in the 3 out of the last 6 years. But this minister has been at the helm for the last 3 years. To the minister, will you take any responsibility at all for this shortfall? At all?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am very proud of the fact that response times haven't gone up, that we have found ways to increase frontline service providers, and that we continue to do that, Mr. Speaker. And we'll be happy to talk about this year's budget in just a few minutes. But let's, again, remember what happened under the then government, of which the leader of that party was the health minister. They brought forward a $1 billion proposed cut. They brought forward a proposed health care levy, even in their health care tax, rather, and even in their proposal for this year's upcoming shadow budget, they're proposing those same failed solutions. Mr. Speaker, you can't cut $1 billion from health care, bring in a new tax, and expect things to get better. On this side of the House, we're standing up for Albertans.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Southeast, second supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I honestly believe that the minister has the best interests of Albertans at heart, and that this oversight funding for EMS is simply a mistake. But it's a mistake that puts lives at risk, and so I feel compelled to stand up and continue to question her about this issue. It's been identified, the solutions are within the minister's purview, and the need is only growing. So regardless of how we got here, Mr. Speaker, we need to start moving forward to ensure that Albertans have access to life-saving emergency care. To the same minister, if you won't take responsibility, will you at least take some action?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
I'm proud to do both, Mr. Speaker. We've taken responsibility for reversing the cuts that were posed by Mr. Mandel, the leader of the party that's asking the very question, Mr. Speaker. We've taken action on making sure that we protect frontline services throughout our province, including expanding capital, including expanding EMS services. We took action on putting the paramedics under the Health Professions Act, something that the member opposite appears to have attempted to do and not done when he was in government, but we did on this side very shortly after taking government. We've taken action on bringing in power stretchers, and in a few short minutes we'll have an opportunity to take action discussing our vision, including our budget, including that for EMS in this province, and we'll see what...
Thank you.